Assalamualaikum warahmatullahi wabarakatuh. First of all, let me introduce myself. My name is Andi Muhammad Nafiansah, or you can call me Aidil. And today we're gonna talk about anime production. Now, the reason why I created this talk for this presentation because we all probably know, like in animation industry or anime in particular, it's not an easy job to do. It's a very long process from start to finish. But there are people that I know very well that they thought that anime is something easy to do. They get like mocking it about, and they say it's just drawing picture hand by hand, let the computer do its job, and that's it, easy. And they got a lot of pay. Well, that's why I decided to make this presentation about PowerPoint production to show that to people like that who think like that it's not. So in today's discussion, in the agenda, I'm going to talk about like what is anime in first place. That so for those of you who don't know, I can tell you like what is the simple term of anime, and then we're gonna talk about some facts about anime, like maybe that you maybe know, you may not know. For the still it's gonna be take about like 5 minutes. And for the third one, we gotta talk to the basic like how anime is made, like from the start to finish. This one is gonna take about 10 minutes or 15, depending. And for the fourth one, overall costs, in this one we're gonna tell like how much how much it takes like to pay to make a single episode of anime. It takes about 5 minutes. And for the fifth one, we're gonna talk about the local survey. So I asked some people about how much they know about the production itself. It's about 5 minutes. It takes about 5 minutes. I'm gonna talk about it. And the summary, just to wrap up everything. So this probably takes about maybe 20 or 25 minutes. It depends again. And if any of you want ask any question, you can put it in the comment section down below. So I will definitely answer it as soon as I saw the question. Okay, so let's get started. What is anime? Okay, for those who know, we already know what it is. But for those who don't know, anime or in Japanese, like what is anime is a hand-drawn and computer animation originating from Japan. So only the things in Japan, only the animation in Japan published can be called anime. Well, how do what anime come from? Anime, the word of anime is a term derived from English word, or the term that we call wasi eigo from animation. So in anime, it's a wasi eigo term for animation. Simple as that. And then some anime facts. Okay, there are 5 facts that I'm going to show you here. Maybe you know, maybe you don't know. The first of all is overall over decades and centuries, there are 70,360 anime that is created from couple of years, couple of decades, or maybe a century. That almost includes a TV version, an OVA, or ONA, a special, a movie, and also a hentai if you want to add it as well. So the oldest anime, so in everyone know that who the oldest anime, someone you know, the oldest anime ever created is Tetsuan Atom, or in English word, we all know it as Astro Boy, back in 1963, the first TV anime that's ever been published in television. And although Astro Boy is the oldest anime, but the longest anime is holds by Sazai-san. This anime is so long that it holds the Guinness World Record not only for anime but in animation world itself. and still running until this day. And it already has more than 7,071 episodes. It's way more than One Piece that we all know, and longer than even Conan. And also, to make all these 70,000 anime, there are more than 430 anime studios over there. For example, Toei Animation, TV Tokyo, what is it again? A1 Studio. There's much more in that. That's three major that I will show you. And finally, because there's so many anime that run the world, run the time sense, run decades, so much that 60% of world animation is anime. Just so amazing that a lot of anime is like more dominant than around all animation of the world. Now, now you see about that. Now let's get down to business. How anime is made. Okay, the process of making anime is a long and rigorous progress. Of course, every progress starts with the staff assembly for animation. We have to set who's going to be the director, who's going to be the animation, who's going to be the staff. It depends on what kind of anime they make and the timing as well. And of course, after that, all assembled, they have to plan everything like what the time that anime has to be released on television, how many like episodes they need, the contracts of which broadcasting media or what television channel that will have that anime be broadcasted. After all that's been done, they make the first step, the sourcing of the anime. Now, the sourcing is like through like novel or from manga to have to have a fake idea what they're of what they have like more idea, more research, but what they want to adapt. And then after that's been done, then because they're starting to make designing for the character based on the anime. How can we make it to be more adapted to television? Maybe they have to like some minor change, probably like from the hair, from the style of the face, or the gesture of the body. It changes so it can adapt to television. After the character designing is finished, now they continue to the background design. So from that resourcing and then from character designing, maybe they can decide like what kind of background that they want to use, what kind of like atmosphere that wanted. Maybe something like more medieval time, something like magical war, or maybe something like from Japan itself if it's for real life or slice of life anime. It depends again. So it also depends from the situation, the sourcing, and the character as well. Then after all that design is done, now come the script writing. Uh, this is where like the rigorous work starting. They have to like more in sourcing. There's not much of interaction word, especially in light novel. So the script writers really have to think how to make the script works, like trying to follow what the light novel or the manga is saying, so that at least it can be like one road, even though it alters a little bit. And after that, we come the storyboarding. After the script writing is done, now the team is gonna storyboard like how this gonna come down. Like if you take a look at this from Toaru Kabuku no Index, Otoru Magusudo, Otoru no Railgun, it's like for work up to down like from broadcast from one set to another. It depends like what the situation. For the manga and anime, we get a drawn version of it. After that, we get a starting the layout. Now after the storyboard is still black and white. Now we go to the layout. Now that's starting a little bit a simple color to give a fake idea like what color should we apply of this character, what kind of atmosphere it is applied. Again it differs again, so at least it can imitate the manga or it gives a little bit more volume to it. After the layout is done, now it's time for the animating. Now, the first word in animating, it has to be about the key animation. to give out some key points about the anime, some key action to it. Now, this key action is actually explained like point action like from point A to point B. Now, how much the time difference? Now it depends. Some key action of the animation it depends like for maybe from point A to point B is like 1 second, or probably some of it more like 2 seconds, or probably 3 seconds. It depends like how the character is like making the action. It depends again. After the key animation is finished, now we get started to in between. Now how to make the movement in between those key scenes. Now this gonna make a lot of frames to it. So how many frames to fit like from that one key point to another? Now in regulation anime, it you need to be 12 or 14 or 30 frames. Again, it depends on the character or the character like movement. For something like with walk, probably something like for a normal walk, maybe like 12, or maybe some action a little bit, maybe make it 24, or maybe some high effect, some high action in mid 30. It's a lot of action to it, so it makes it make it more interesting. And after the between any, okay, also almost forgot, for the background, they only need eight. They only need 8 frames per second. Now after the in between animation is done, now we're getting to coloring. Now for the coloring itself, after that, they have to color frame per frame. That's the coloring frame per frame. But it sounds like a bit a lot of work, but no need to worry. In key animation and in between animation, it's all hand drawn, hand drawn. After that, it's gonna, don't worry, after that, it's been scanned to the computer so the computer can draw it by itself. So that's nothing to worry about. But still, to set the color, it has to be by our own manually. After that, the computer will set it automatically, it depends. After the coloring is done, now the time comes from the effect. Added some effect from the simple drawing. The computer will the from computer it will add some effect. It depends on the situation. Maybe something like intense side lines, or maybe something like a close up look, or a fade background to make more focus, or maybe a darkened background for make a situation like where the characters in having inside thoughts. After the effect is done for frame, now comes to the composition. After the this is where all those frames, after being coloring and the effect, using effect, everything, now it's been compiled into one. So compiled into one full length anime. Now after that it's fully be compiled. Now it's come to the editing. And now editing is now putting the frame per frame per frame. It's putting it. It depends like how many drawings that after the composition is put. After that editing session is done, make sure there's no problem with the timeline. Now comes for the dubbing. Now the voice actor or the seiyu will come to the studio and record the voice of what they say. They have to imitate. So how they imitate it in the studio room in the upper wall of the screen, that's gonna be the after editing scene of the anime, so they can mimically imitate what they have to say and the timing as well. And also, in order to help the after the dubbing, now add the sound effects in order to help to make the dubbing even more better. Now, after the sound effect has been applied, now after the background music. Now the background music is some compilement song that has already been composed and already owned by the studio itself. So this is almost on no problem having some music. It depends on the situation again. After the music and everything is complete, we have to like final check out on everything. Make sure there's no problem. If there's any problem in the situation, we have to repeat. We have to take back everything. What's the problem? Fix it and review once again. Make sure there's no problem. After all that problem is done, Now they get into promoting. They send it to they promote it in their probably in their official website or in social media. Sometimes the way that they promoting it is by showing like four picture about what's happening in that episode, and then they write in their social media about what's about to happen a little bit without making any spoilers, or they're making a trailer, a 30-second trailer of the anime itself. After the promoting is done, they send it to the TV, the television, the TV station, and then they broadcast it, and then broadcasting. The TV is broadcasting through all over the world. Now, all this is all this process is almost every anime production. All of this. Now, for this one is this is from Toei Animation. All this process they graciously gave me some information. And for all of this process, they take around 2 months. This is only for a single episode from planning to broadcasting. 2 whole months. And they need around 100 to 200 people to finish on one episode. That's a lot for a 30-minute anime. Now, now we talk about the anime, all the process. Now let's talk about the cost. How much for making a single episode anime? So in this is taken based on the this is taken from Toei anime. This is taken from various anime, but this is from 2010 because from now there's no like total normal resource. But back in 2010, it was 11 million yen or $145,214. This almost costs you a house, and that breaks down to the original work. The original work, like from the artist itself, 500,000 yen or 660,000. The script, they're making the script, 200,000 yen or maybe $2,640. Episode direction, 500,000 yen or 606,000. Production. Now this production for this one is the labor work, 2 million yen, 26,402, for 36,402. Key animation supervision. Now this is a supervision to take a look at, and this supervision is the probably like the master or maybe the original the author, 250,000 yen or 330,000. The key animation they're making, 1,500,000 or 19,000 or $801. In betweening, 1,100,000 yen or $14,521. Finishing, to finish, you make sure that also include the coloring whatsoever as well. In, maybe coloring, composing, 1,200,000 yen or $50,841. The art for the background itself, $1,200,000 as well. The photography, and this is for the resource again for the art and background. This is $700,000. Sorry, 700,000 yen or $9,214. The sound, this also equals the effects and also the background music because although it's from the animation, they have to buy rights from the composer itself. And sometimes anime they're all about 48 sound they use, so they cost about 1,200,000 yen or $50,841. The materials, the material that needed. This also includes the paper, the computer, the application. This is cost about 400,000 yen or $5,280. The editing, 200,000 yen or 2,314. And the printing. In printing the anime work is called scan, the scanning process. 500,000 yen or 600,000. A lot of, so this is $145,000 in making just a normal 30 minutes anime. Just it costs you almost a house. So if you take around this one, it makes sense. Now we all know this. So to prove that people maybe know about what anime is, I make a survey to people who knows about anime or have a vague idea, or people, sorry, to people who knows anime and watches anime, and people have a little bit idea about anime. I asked some people to do a survey to make sure that how much they know the behind the scenes, not just the anime itself. Now, the first question that I asked them, how many anime studios do you know? Now, not surprisingly, that 54% that the people that filled the survey, if you take a look at the chart, they don't know any studio that makes the anime. But 63, 60, sorry, 36% of the people who take the survey know less than five studios. 5% knows about 5 to 10, and 5% also 10 to 20, but no one in the people taking survey know more than 20. So they probably know, but in this one I can conclude that they know that some big major ones like JC Staffs, A1 Studio, Toei Animation, or some of the big companies. The second question I asked them, how much is the cost for making one anime episode? Now in this one, 64% of them don't have any idea how much does it cost. But 80% of the people that takes the survey think they about 10,000 to $100,000, and then 9% of people thinks that maybe around 100,000 to 500,000, and then 4% of them thought maybe 500,000 to 1 million, and then 5% of them, then the rest of it, or the 5% say that it's more than 1 million. So I can conclude that the 80% probably have some vague ideas, maybe from some research. Maybe they have some research of it, which is good. And then the third question I asked, how many people got involved in making anime? If we take a look at charts again, 64% of the people don't know how many people got involved in making the anime. And then 14% of people taking the survey talks about 10 to 15, and 9% says 5 to 100, 9% 100 to 200, and 4% 200 to 500. Again, this is no surprising because most of it only watches anime here. Not a lot of people know about the behind the scenes. But this 14 people, this like 9%, maybe know, maybe do some their research, like they respect it. Now for the fourth question, how long does it take to make one anime episode? How long? Now 45. Now if we take a look at the pie chart again, 45% say don't know anything. 9% of them say less than a week because maybe they have idea because an anime is released weekly, so they say like less than a week. And then 80% of people say 1 to 4 weeks, and then 14% of people say 1 to 2 months, and then the rest 14% say more than 2 months. Again, this is no shocking because not a lot of people don't know how much it is. Now, the fifth one question I asked is anime character hand drawn or CG or computer graphics? Now, 32% of people taking the survey say it is hand drawn. 80% of them say it's CG, and half of them say that it's both. Well, maybe they say it's both because maybe 80% of them say CG because it's so like computer graphic, but and then half of this 50% people say that it's both because is the look, maybe there's some like drawings and then some computer graphics to it, maybe in the background. So maybe that's what they talk about 50%. And the last question I asked them in the survey is that is making anime the hardest job in the world? Now, without surprise, like 80% of them say yes, it is the hardest job, and 18% of them says no. Now, after we take a look at all these six questions, it's very clear that most of them didn't know have any idea of what the anime is making. They just maybe know about just how to watch it, not know what's behind the scenes. Maybe, and some people in the taking survey, a small percentage knows about it because they respect the culture and how to make the anime itself and respect the staff and people get behind it. Now, in summary, in yes, maybe some people like still doesn't doubt that people mapping a 30-minute anime is like, oh yeah, an easy job. But if we take a look again from the background, from behind the scene, more than 100 people. Again, let me talk about it again. 100 people, more than that, is taking the time, is taking the job to making this, and costs more than $100 and 11 million yen to make this anime, and it takes more around. It's like it takes around 2 months just to make a normal 30 minutes anime. So making anime is not an easy job. Let me just clarify it again. Making anime is not easy. Don't discriminate the people who are behind it. Don't they think that it's an easy job. In fact, that more than 100 people invested their job, invested their life to make this anime. $100,000 been spent, and 1/6 of a year it's been taken. This is not an easy job. So let me just clarify it again. Anime is not an easy job. We have to maybe okay in anime maybe some anime like not good and enough. But if we think about all this that is all this that I just say, we have to think about it again and respect like how hard it is. So in the end, some words of is don't judge book by its cover. That's all I can say. So that's it for today. Thank you so much for anyone who listens to this presentation. And for anyone who wants to ask a question, please write it in the comment section and I will answer it right away. Thank you so much again. Uh, thank you so much again. And wassalamualaikum warahmatullahi wabarakatuh.